Hey guys, my name's Reese, welcome back to my channel, and today I want to have a little thought experiment with you. I think it's safe to say that when most people get into real estate, they're doing so primarily to make some money. And for some, that means just a little extra money to supplement their income, maybe an extra $500 a month. And for other people, they might be trying to replace their 9-to-5 completely and turn real estate into a business. And for most of us, we usually have a number in mind that would be enough for us to either leave our job or that goal number to supplement your income. An extra $500 a month maybe, or the rat race number, which is just enough money to cover their expenses and achieve financial freedom. Since getting into real estate, my goal has been to create a cash flow stream of $100,000 a year. That's $100,000 above any expenses that come along with owning real estate. And today I want to share some advice I first heard from Grant Cardone, which I follow religiously, that's helping me plan and systematically achieve my goal of reaching $100,000 a year in cash flow. Grant Cardone believes in always running the numbers, as he says. And while I don't believe wholeheartedly in all of Grant Cardone's advice when it comes to business and real estate, this little tidbit I stand behind 100%. Running the numbers, which in a moment we'll get into exactly how to do that, allows you to break down larger goals like this $100,000 a year in cash flow into actionable steps and smaller bite-sized pieces. And in turn, this will help motivate you on what will most likely be a somewhat difficult road. It also helps you immediately close some doors and open other doors, which once again, I'll get into what I mean by that in just a couple minutes. And so with that said, I want to go ahead and start running the numbers and breaking down how to make $100,000 in cash flow per year, and how you can use the same method to then break down your goals. But before we go ahead and dive into that, guys, I'd love to ask you to go ahead and like this video, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you enjoy this real estate and finance education. It helps my channel out immensely, rank with the YouTube algorithm, especially as a small channel like mine, trying to grow, trying to get in front of more people to share my journey with, and hopefully educate some people along the way. So with that said, guys, thank you so much, and let's go ahead and jump into step number one of running the numbers, which is to have all the numbers. So the first number we need to figure out is the expected cash-on-cash return that your market and your investment class can provide. And a cash-on-cash return is the percentage return that will come only from cash flow. So real estate provides multiple methods of return: cash flow, appreciation, principal paydown, and tax benefits. However, for this example, we're running the numbers specifically on cash flow, and therefore we need that cash-on-cash return. And so in Central Ohio, where I live, and choosing the residential multifamily asset class, I know on a great deal I can expect at least a 15% cash-on-cash return. I can do much better than this on a fantastic deal, or I can choose a deal that doesn't quite reach that 15%, and then structure it with partnerships to help me achieve that percent return, which we'll get into near the end of the video. So what you really need to do when finding your cash-on-cash return is choose your asset class, whether that be multifamily, retail, office, doesn't really matter. Just choose the type of real estate you'd like to be in and one that performs well in your market. And then we need to figure out what the average cash-on-cash return for that in your market is. You can do this by analyzing a lot of deals and choosing that cash-on-cash number near the top end of the market, as of course when you're analyzing on-market deals, a lot of them won't be good deals. However, one way I like to do this, especially when going to a new market, is just find networking events with real estate investors. This could be Facebook groups or in-person meetups. However, go ahead and meet up with some people that have been investing in real estate for a while in your market and talk to them. What are their investment criteria? And what do they expect they can get from a good investment in your chosen investment class? You might also be able to get some similar numbers from an investment-friendly real estate agent who should have an idea of the returns that their clients get. Now, once you have a realistic idea of the cash-on-cash return in your market, now's the time we want to set that goal. And for this example, we're using a $100,000 a year cash flow, but you can break down your goal into whatever you want. Like we said earlier, if you only want $500 a month to supplement your income, then we're going to multiply that by 12. That's $6,000 a year you need in cash flow. So for my example, with the $100,000, we go ahead and take that goal number and divide it by your expected return, which in my example is 15%. And this equals $670,000. This means you need to invest about $670,000, performing at a 15% cash-on-cash return to obtain that $100,000 a year in cash flow. And so as simple as that, we now have the big starting numbers, which is the $670,000 of invested capital, earning a 15% cash-on-cash return. Now, if you have just over $500,000 laying around, you can go ahead and throw that into an apartment complex and go ahead and end this video right now. However, unfortunately, most of us are starting somewhere in the $0 to $100,000 range. And looking at this large $670,000 number can be pretty daunting. So we need to break this $670,000 number down even further by running the numbers. And this is where it starts to provide some real value, because we start closing certain doors and opening other doors. Now, the key thing to remember when running your numbers on your goal is that running the numbers really means just breaking down these large items into smaller steps. And so you can run these numbers in many different ways in order to help you problem solve and come up with a way to achieve that goal. And so for my example, I'm going to set a 6-year timeline to achieve that $100,000 a year cash flow goal. And so first, we're going to break down how much capital we're going to invest each year. And now it's important to keep in mind that your investing won't be linear. It's going to be exponential. And so that means in the first year, you might only be investing $50,000 versus the 6th year, you're investing $175,000. And so for my goal, I'm going to pop on the screen over here the capital deployment schedule that I'd need to maintain to achieve my $100,000 of cash flow per year by my 6th year, which means I need to invest $670,000 over that 6-year time span. And so you can see up on the screen that in year 1, I'm investing $50,000, year 2, 75, year 3, 100, and then all the way up to 175 in year 6. And by running these numbers and seeing the amount of money I'm going to have to put in play each year, I can immediately close one door. By running these numbers, I've immediately figured out I can close that first door, which is getting a second job that's paid by time. No matter how many extra hours I work, after I pay taxes on this money, there's just not enough hours in the day, and I'm not being paid enough per hour to save enough money to, in year 6, be contributing $175,000 to my investing. And so I can go ahead and immediately close this door number 1 because I know I'm just going to waste time by Uber driving on the weekends. It's not going to get me any closer. And so we've determined I need to work smarter, not necessarily harder. I either need a higher return on my investment than the 15%, or I need to be earning more money somehow. So if we're going to focus on earning more money, we've immediately determined I can't work based on time. I need to find a job that I can be paid by results. Now, I've personally chosen to implement the BRRRR method of real estate investing, which is to buy undervalued property, renovate them, rent them, refinance it, and then repeat. However, if you want to stay with real estate as that second form of income paid by results, you can flip houses, you can become a real estate agent, or you can wholesale, or many other options. However, let's say you don't want a second job, or you're looking to achieve this $100,000 a year in cash flow much quicker than 6 years, say 3 to 5 years. We can once again run these numbers with the different goal in mind. And so what we've determined, since we can only save so much money from our main job, we need a higher return on our investment. And now we know our market, for me, Central Ohio, only supports about a 15% cash-on-cash return in the multifamily asset class. However, what I can do, since I can't really increase the cash-on-cash return any further, I can structure the deal with partnerships to increase my cash-on-cash return. So let's say you find a great deal in your market with a 15% cash-on-cash return, but you either don't have the capital to buy the property, or you've ran your numbers and you know 15% is not going to achieve your goals. And so you immediately close the door of buying this property with your own money because the numbers don't work. But a 15% cash-on-cash return in your market is still a very good deal. And so you go ahead and put that property under contract anyway. However, you partner with an investor on this deal instead of putting your own money into the deal. Now you know your market, so you know a passive investor in real estate would accept a 10% cash-on-cash return. And so what you do is you create a 70-30 split where you owned 30% of the property, the investor owns 70% of the property. However, the investor puts 100% of the money into the deal, and you get your 30% ownership because you found the deal, and you're going to be managing the property going forward. So now that 15% cash-on-cash return you found turns into a 10.5% cash-on-cash return for the investor, which is 15% times 70% ownership, and a 4.5% on equity raised for you, which is 30% times that 15% cash on cash. However, you have no money in this deal. So in all reality, your cash on cash return is infinite. You're dividing by zero. Now, don't let this infinite return kind of woo you, because you do need to still pay attention to how many hours you're putting into this deal. So if your portion of the cash flow equals only $100 a month, but you need to put 10 hours a month into overseeing this investment, it still probably won't be a great deal for you, because you're only being paid $10 an hour. So there you go. By running the numbers, you've now found another way to achieve that goal of $100,000 in cash flow in, say, 3 to 5 years. Because now, if you only put a little bit of money in the deal and bring on an investor, you can ramp up your cash-on-cash returns to 20, 30, 40%. So if we can get a 30% cash-on-cash return by partnering with investors and putting less money in the deal, instead of $670,000, we only need $330,000 of our own money in play. And so this is exactly what I did a couple years ago. I determined I want $100,000 a year in cash flow, and I want to do this in 5 years. And so immediately I realized my job, which at the time was a computer engineering job, won't provide the capital I need to reach this goal. And so now I've turned to the BRRRR method of investing, as well as partnerships going forward. This way, I can create extra capital through renovating and refinancing properties, and I can also ramp up my cash-on-cash return by partnering with investors that want to remain passive and not do the work anyway. And so I'm solving a need by providing a great return to investors, and also solving my issue of not being able to come up with enough capital. And so that's all I have for you today, guys. I really hope this shows you that you can have these goals that seem very out of reach, and by running numbers, they start to become more and more possible, and you start to solve problems, which in turn will help you reach those goals. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day. Please like this video if you enjoyed it, and go ahead and subscribe to my channel if you are interested in these types of videos, real estate, personal finance related, and growing your wealth. So thanks again, guys, and have a great day.